to affect, the bottom line is affecting these players in a positive way. And, you know, as I talked about that with Mr. Barnhart, you know, we wouldn't be wasteful and wouldn't be just doing things to do them, but they're all positions that are of great need. And the bottom line is they're here to help these players.
You hired your first 7 assistants in relatively short order. Obviously, only 7 could be out on the road recruiting at any time. Did you feel like you needed to get, you know, that number of guys in this window where you could still be on the road recruiting and then maybe take your time with the last 2?
I did feel the need to get some help. As I was talking about those first couple of days, you know, it was a lonely feeling in that office because there was so much to do and you needed some help. And but a lot of people I talked to about being a head coach for the first time, and you know, even guys in conference, guys like Kevin Sumlin, and just different people I spoke with about the opportunity to be a head coach. They all gave me great advice and saying be very patient because you're going to get a lot of pressure from people from a lot of different angles, and everybody, we all want things done right now. But a lot of good advice I got from people about being patient, hiring the right guys, and also being patient in selecting the right players and recruiting as well. So I'm trying to do that. Yep.
As the semester ends, do you have any roster updates? Is everybody been strong independently?
We'll address that another time. They're coming in right now. Yeah, it's just starting to filter in right now. I was just in an academic meeting and I'm not totally caught up, so I'll go back after this and continue to address that.
On injuries, is Maxwell Smith and Josh Clemens, any updates on those guys?
Not at this time. No.
Mark, you mentioned Neil's connections to Kentucky. Chad Scott had some. John Schlarman has some. How important was that to you, you know, to have guys who maybe understand, you know, the landscape here?
Very. As long as they fit in with what we're trying to do and with the whole staff and had the qualifications, it was important to me. I'll rely on those guys. And so, you know, that was important in my decision. But, you know, more importantly, he was a great offensive coordinator and a great offensive coach. So.
No, you can't mention guys specifically by name, but how have you handled the delicate situation with, you know, commitments from previous staff, communicating with those guys, and kind of making decisions on how to move forward?
Yeah, been in communication with all of them, and you know, so we talked to some of them about possibly letting them go to some other schools. It would probably be in their best interest to look at some other schools, just system-wise. So everybody completely understood that, and I don't think, you know, either side. I don't think you want a player that's you're going to sign him and come in here and be unhappy if he doesn't fit the system and have to sit out for 4 or 5 years. You know, that wouldn't be the right thing to do to those players. So yeah, we've addressed all those.
You expect to sign more junior college players, or how are you approaching that?
Possibly, but we'll see. There are a few more needs, and you know, we'll look at that and evaluate that as we go.
Mark, since you, I don't know if you were reviewing, since you signed on here, other coaches obviously have signed on in other places. There were a lot of people that thought that maybe Kentucky might have to wait, and yet you were one of the first. You went in and courted Mitch and said yes. Just looking back, I'm wondering why you decided to go for this job, and there were a lot of other jobs open.
Well, we had a mutual. My attorney knows the situation here, and so I reached out through my attorney, through my representation, and so we started talking, and just felt like it was a great opportunity. As we started talking, the more and more we talked, the more and more interest I had. And so you know, I just felt good from the start. I felt like, yeah, I think everybody in this room could agree that Kentucky is chomping at the bit to get back and be competitive in the SEC. And I felt that, and I felt there was a commitment by the administration, and I know there's a commitment by the fan base, and I could tell from being here 2.5 weeks that there's going to be a great commitment from our players to get this program back on track.
How did it feel to sit back and watch all that carousel kept spinning, but you were set?
You know, what's funny is the other day our building's set up with 2 levels, so I don't get down to the bottom floor much. You know, strolling around down there and talking with some of the GAs and just different people on the bottom floor. And one of our GA's office, you know, graduate assistants always keep the job for it. And I glanced over at it and just we had a big laugh. I said, wow, because what do you was really the first I even acknowledged it, to be honest with you. You know, you always hear bits and pieces about what's going on, but there's been so much to do the last 2.5 weeks. I really haven't read much newspapers or anything, or watched any TV, Sports Center, or anything. And, you know, you get a blurb here and there. But when I saw the job board on the defensive GAs, well, it's amazing. Big year.
Mark, what's-
DJ's back down at Florida State. How long is he going to be there helping? And
Yeah, he's going to be there for the bowl game. So he you know, stayed and finished recruiting for us, and then left to go down and help. And you know, we both felt the need for him to do that. And, so Florida State's been good for both of us, and we care a great deal about that program, about those players. So he wants to go down there and finish that thing off right. The players deserve that.
Mark, what are the next few weeks like for you? You said it was a whirlwind. It's kind of started to settle down. What's your plan? I mean, do you have to worry about moving and all that stuff, or is the wife taking care of that
The wife
kind of thing?
takes care of all that. I had to just get a general feel for Lexington, and I did get out and able to start driving around at least a little bit here and there, an hour, you know, each day to get a little feel for which direction is what. And so,
good luck.
Yeah,
So-
so good luck with that.
So, yeah, so I could, you know, over the break when I go home, at least my wife, if she's looking at houses and things online, at least I'll have a general idea for the neighborhoods and for the areas. So, yeah, but my wife handles all that. I pick the job, she picks the house.
Have you had one of those like, wow, I'm a head coach moments yet?
I probably better not go into it, but I joked with some of the staff at one time, yeah, we had one. I did, where I caught myself, I said, wait a minute, I am the boss. So, yeah.
Neil indicated yesterday, if I'm reading this correctly, that you were very patient. You know, that you, of course, knew from Microsoft School that you could name the head coach. You told him to go through the process. How hard was that for you to be patient when you had, in your interest, you
It
needed to
was.
hit the ground running?
It was definitely giving more hair for me. It was, and that was no fault of Neil's. You know, just the situation that it was. And I guess that was my first test as a head coach, to sit there but you know, I obviously have been an assistant my whole life, and wanted to be supportive of Neil. I understand what he's going through, and you know, we hadn't named him yet or anything to the media, so we just thought we'd ride that out and see where he was at. And then, you know, of course, Neil was chomping at the bit to get here and be a part of the program. So, but it got a little nerve-wracking, both with him and Coach Elliott. So those guys put me through it a little bit.
Can you sense the buzz that's out there, Mark, in the state to go recruiting?
Yeah,
What's
I
your
have.
feel?
Yeah, I have, Tony, and people keep me abreast of the situation, but I'm glad to hear that. And it seems like everybody I talk to, you know, is very excited about that. And had a chance to sit and visit with Tim Couch last night, and Tim kind of said the same thing about how many people are excited. And, you know, it's great to hear, you know, because we're going to need that. We're going to need great support. We're all in this together, and I need that, and I mean it. And you know, the media, you know, I need your support too. That's the way it is. You know, you all can put a spin on things any way you want, and you know, really, you know, I think it's exciting to see that everybody's, you know, excited about football, and you know, so it's good. It's been good.
Neil said yesterday that you may possibly be able to flip some people in recruiting. Would you consider the two guys that they flip?
Pardon me?
Would you consider the two guys that they someone that you flip?
Well, no, we didn't flip them, but it was a classic battles. You know, especially with Zedarius. You know, myself and Coach Brumbaugh got off a plane in Greenville, Alabama, and were greeted at the plane by the mayor and Zedarius. So it was kind of interesting. I think the mayor's an Auburn guy too. So, but you know, it was a good hard fight for these guys, in particular Zedarius. And Coach Sumlin was in, I think, the morning, and I came in the afternoon to see them all and see Zedarius. So Coach and I have a history, so we can't bad talk each other. So that was tame.
So you were asked earlier about what that means for other recruits, that you were able to win that battle, but what does it mean for you and the staff that you could do that right off the bat? I mean, does that energize and pump up the staff when you're able to do that right off the bat?
There were were some high fives in the office this morning, oh yeah. We were excited, very much so. And it does, it makes you feel very good about the future. And, you know, myself and the staff, we've been through those, and we expect to win our fair share of recruiting battles. But that first one, a player like him, in such a short amount of time, definitely energized us, yes.
With him choosing you without even coming here and no visits, sight unseen, that type of thing, does it kind of underscore, you know, even though you talked about facilities and that was a big buzz when you were announced, that it's still about relationships and people and that kind of thing?
Absolutely. I think in particular for junior college players, because the bells and the whistles, you know, these players need to know that you're going to help them and that they're going to have an opportunity. And so I think it's the relationship system, all that's very important to the junior college player. And so, you know, with Zedarius, I think it was easy because he knows Coach Crumbach. He knows how he's going to be coached. Coach Elliott was the D-line coach at Florida State. He saw what Coach Elliott did for the last 3 years. And then I'm the defensive coordinator. He saw what we did at Florida State for the last 3 years. So if you're sitting there, if you're Zedarius, it looks like a pretty good situation for him here. You got the D-line coach, the defensive coordinator, and the head coach all speaking the exact same language. So that was good.
Coach, did you have to talk to Steve Borden's dad?
Pardon me?
Did Steve Borden's dad stay?
Oh, yeah. He came and had dinner with us and hung out for the day. So, yeah, it was fun to get to know him. A tremendous person, and we had a good day, and he liked what he saw here.
Any wrestling matches at half-times or the spring game?
I asked him in the indoor if he wanted to throw around a little bit, but he didn't want any piece of me.
Mark, I talked to one of your old Iowa teammates, Chuck Hartley, and also a couple people that covered your teams in Tallahassee, and they were telling the same story about how fiery you are on the sidelines and how in Tallahassee you had somebody assigned to make sure you weren't out on the field when you maybe didn't need to be. Is there going to be somebody?
I've changed now.
Just what can fans expect from you in that?
No, I think it's real important for the head coach to you know, be a head coach and manage the game. So I've got to, you know, I understand I got to keep your emotions in check, and I think I've grown a lot in that area because, yeah, it's a big part of who I am and how I coach, but most of it's, you know, always in a positive way too. So again, I just, you know, I believe you could will players to do things, and so, you know, I have great passion for what I do and how I coach and how we get it done. But I do think roles change a little bit as a head coach and how you handle those situations.
Are there some priorities, facilities-wise, things that you would put at the top of the list that you'd like to see taken care of in the next few years?
There are, and I'll really let Mitch address those and make sure he and I are on the same page. And you know, again, I think there's, you know, everybody here wants to see some improvement in certain areas. So I believe we're working hard to get that done.
Anyone else?
I'm wondering, while you were, I guess, working all around the country, whenever you think about Kentucky, I'm sure it was mostly basketball. That said, what's been your reaction since you've been here? You saw the reception, and you've been all over the place, and the well-wishers and everything, and you know, balancing the two sports and that kind of thing. How surprised are you that there is so much passion for football?
I'm not surprised by that. I believe, you know, this is the SEC, and I know the fans of Kentucky want great football. That doesn't surprise me one bit, and I expected that, and I expect great support. Like I said, I believe in the fan base here. I see their passion, and so we're all in this thing together, and we're looking forward to it, embracing it. It's a great relationship with the basketball. Coach Cal's been tremendous. I've had a few visits with him. I got an opportunity to watch the practice, you know, sit in on one of his meetings, and just get a chance to spend a little time with him. And I'm looking forward to that relationship. How can you not embrace such a dynamic person in such a great program?
Anyone else?